Rotary Club. Whatever Rotary may mean to us, to the world it will be known by the results it achieves. Co-founder Paul Harris. This statement may at first sound perfectly fine. However, what it really is saying is that Rotary will be seen as one thing in the eyes of the outside world, but be quite another to its own members. This quote also fully shows the conscious intent to achieve this. False view by others, based on their outward appearance through good works. But, as we will see, the intent and purpose of Rotary goes far beyond that, and is far less than charitable. Not just a civic club, many think of Rotary as simply a civic club for businessmen that meet together to discuss various topics of concern to their community. Many are not aware, however, that the original founders had much more in mind than just service to one's community. One of the original founders of Rotary International, Guslow, was himself not only a member of the professional business community, but was also a member of the Masonic Lodge. The first Rotary meeting was even held at his office in Dearborn, Michigan. Most of the original members of Rotary were also Freemasons. Rotary was founded largely on the same principles as those of Freemasonry, which also seeks to achieve a favorable outward appearance through good works. They believe that they too should balance their good deeds with their bad through such endeavors as charitable deeds. This begs the question of just how bad these bad deeds might be that they are working so hard to balance out. If they are trying to look that good on the outside, what might these secret societies be doing in secret? This also makes Masonry and other such Masonic type groups such as Rotary more akin to a works-based religious cult. These types of beliefs have more in common with such pagan ideas as karma and the inner balance of yin and yang and the Christian roots that these clubs often claim to have. This is, however, a false claim, and is really more of a tactic to assuage the fears of any new or prospective members. The focus that such groups place on the achievement of this balance, or the duality of good and evil, is often symbolized in the black and white checkerboard pattern used in much of their imagery. This is true not only of Masonry, but also of other like-minded fraternal organizations such as the FOP, Fraternal Order of Police. Masonic roots. A further link between Rotary and Masonry is seen in early Rotary logo and lapel pin that featured a Masonic square and compass at the center of the familiar Rotary cogwheel. There was, and still is, a strong connection between the Rotary Club and the Masonic Lodge, both in its founding members, as well as in the general membership itself. Many Rotarians are also concurrently Masons, and Rotary clubs serve as a fertile recruiting ground for the Masonic Lodge. The Masons have a saying, that to be one, ask one, meaning that, while Masons don't recruit directly, they do make sure to retain a visible profile in the public eye by their membership in various civic clubs and organizations. They also make sure to prominently display their Masonic rings and lapel pins in public settings and club meetings, so that you will know who they are. All that a Rotarian would then need to do is to ask his fellow Rotary Club member who is also a member of the Masons about how to join the lodge. This way, no member of the lodge can ever claim that they were coerced to join, and therefore the decision rests squarely upon that individual. And, when you eventually end up in the great lodge in the sky, wherever that may be, but which certainly isn't heaven, then there will be no one to blame but yourself. Just as with the Lions Club under Melvin Jones, Rotary was also started as another Masonry without the apron, or Masonry light. While the Rotary logo no longer features the square and compass, it does display many features of the same basic tenets of Masonry, as well as many other secret fraternal organizations. The main goal and purpose of the worldwide Masonic organization throughout its history has been to preserve the ancient mystery religions of the occult, idol worship and paganism of the past. The Bible also tells us the role of these mystery religions in the future. I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, and upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and abominations of the earth. Revelation 17:3-5. The Bible also tells us in Ezekiel 8 that this mystery religion will take the form of a wicked and idolatrous worship of a false sun god. In fact, nearly every ancient religion has at its base some type of sun worship. Even the Pagan ritual calendar itself revolves around the phases of the sun, especially during each solstice and equinox. Thou shalt see greater abominations than these. And he brought me into the inner court of the Lord's house, and, behold, at the door of the temple of the Lord, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men, with their backs toward the temple of the Lord, and their faces toward the east, and they worshipped the sun toward the east. Ezekiel 8:16. Sun worship. Sun worship can be seen in every major cult and religious practice throughout history, with the exception of true biblical Christianity. You can see that this is true in everything from Apollo, Helios, Mithras, Siriah and Ra, to the many various sun cults and religious iconography that still exists today in many false belief systems. Essentially, you will either worship the true Son of God, or you will worship the other sun, the false light of Lucifer. It is no different with Masonry, and nor is it with Rotary. Both of these groups are simply a thinly veiled worship of the fallen angel Lucifer, the devil. Sun worship is not the worship of the physical sun per se, but rather a solar deity. Or God is a sky deity who represents the sun, or an aspect of it, usually by its perceived power and strength. Solar deities and sun worship can be found throughout most of recorded history in various forms. This powerful sky deity is the worldly prince of the power of the air mentioned in Ephesians 2:22, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience. These children of disobedience, perhaps they are the ones working so hard in vain to balance their evil deeds with some good, and hoping it will help. The question now, however, is what the idea of sun worship has to do with Rotary. If Masonry, and its offshoots such as Rotary and Lions clubs are basically a thinly veiled worship of Lucifer, the light bearer, the false sun, then it shouldn't be surprising to realize how much sun symbolism exists in their imagery. Currently, the Rotary logo features 6 spokes surrounded with a circular cog and a key at the center for the drive shaft. The circle and 24 golden rays of the cog around the outside represent the sun as a whole. This is nothing more than in-your-face sun worship yet again. In looking at even very early symbols for the Rotary Club, you can already see the depiction of the sun as a round wheel being used to evoke this idea, with the spokes or rays emanating from a center point within a circle. The sun is often depicted in this exact way by many pagan religions, such as with the 8-spoked wheel of Dharma, the Buddhist wheel of life and reincarnation. I truly would hope that there are no Rotarians out there that actually believe in reincarnation, but just in case it may be helpful to ponder this verse from Hebrews 9:27, it is appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment. For Varsity Rotary, occult wheel of misfortune, the Rotary logo is always depicted in gold or yellow, both colors of the Sunday. There are really only 2 religions, you either worship the sun, or the Son of God. The wheel logo used for Rotary International has gone through several changes over the years. While it may have started out more innocuously as a wagon wheel in the beginning, this was mainly in order to at first hide its true purpose. This original seemingly wholesome all-American Western frontier wagon wheel featured 13 spokes. This was then changed to 12 spokes, with both featuring the occult Masonic point within a circle symbol at the center. Later, the logo became an 8-spoked wheel to represent the double Celtic cross, a sun wheel with a double solar cross and an open circle in the center. The pointed gear cogs around the outer circle were a representation of the rays of the Sunday. Currently, the Rotary logo features 6 spokes surrounded by a circular cog and a keyway at the center for the power drive shaft. The circle and 24 golden rays of the cog around the outside represent the sun as a whole. This is nothing more than sun worship hidden in plain sight yet again. False worship symbolism. This circular disc with its pointed rays is the same as the symbol for the occult world's false sun god, or solar deity, which was an abomination to God. The 6 spokes form a 6-pointed star, which is considered to be the most evil and dangerous symbol in the occult. The Bible strongly warns us not to worship the sun, the moon, or even the stars in heaven. Deut 4:19. 17:2-5 and Es 8:16. God also warns what will happen if his people do these detestable things. As it states in Eccle 1-9, there is no new thing under the sun, sun pun intended. In Acts 7:43 the Bible recounts what God's judgment brought upon the Israelites for their disobedience, in having worshipped the star of Remphan and Moloch. Yea, ye took up the tabernacle of Moloch, and the star of your god Remphan, figures which ye made to worship them, and I will carry you away beyond Babylon. Acts 7:43 The star of Remphan was incidentally also depicted as a six-pointed star, a hexagram, just as the rotary wheel now also depicts a golden six-spoked star, which was the symbol of the evil, demonic god Moloch. Hexagram. When the hexagram, or six-pointed star, is drawn within a circle, it is considered by occultists to be the most evil and dangerous symbol in black magic, and is said to be used for summoning demonic entities. More occult wheel symbolism. Wheel. The wheel is a universal symbol of cosmic unity, and, in astrology, of the universe itself. It is also a symbol of the occult concept of the circle of life as well as evolution. It also symbolizes unity, movement, the sun, the zodiac, reincarnation, and Earth's cycles of renewal. Pagans and Wiccans use the circle or wheel in astrology, magic, and many kinds of casting rituals. This symbol is the wheel of life to Buddhists, a medicine wheel to Native Americans, and a mandala to Hindus. The wheel is formed by the pagan sacred circle plus any number of petals or radiating spokes, just as seen in the rotary wheel. Sun wheel. The sun wheel was considered a magical amulet to the Celtic Gauls, or Gaels, in Europe. Later, Christians adopted the form, changing it slightly, so that it became a Christ monogram drawn within a circle. This is, by the way, not a symbol that a true Christian would use today. The sun wheel is a universal symbol found on ancient slabs in Nordic countries, in pre-Columbian America, and in Mediterranean countries. Symbolism of fascism and socialism. According to the Dictionary of Symbols, it is used today as a logo by some new fascist organizations. Like the swastika and other sun symbols, it represents power and supremacy. It also serves as a logo for the Swedish National Socialist Party, Nordiska Rikspartiet, and for the French Jeune Nation, Young Nation, another socialist organization. Sun face. The sun face is a symbol that has been central to most major spiritual systems of history. Since the sun god usually reigned over a pantheon of lesser gods, his symbol played a vital part in pagan worship, and in the rituals of many occult secret societies around the world. Sun and sun sign. The sun was worshipped as a personified, life-giving deity in Babylonian, Egyptian, Greek, Roman, and other major civilizations of history. Today's more common symbol is the familiar face in the center of the sun's rays. A dot or point in the center of a circle, also known as a center point or point in circle in Masonry, symbolizes the blending of male and female forces. Hindus call a midpoint in a circle the bindu, the spark of masculine life within the cosmic womb. Bindi/bindu. Bindu is a Sanskrit word meaning point or dot. A bindi is a small, ornamental, devotional dot applied to the forehead at the third eye, Ajnu, chakra position, and denotes enlightenment in Hinduism and other Eastern spiritual traditions. In metaphysics, bindu is considered the point at which creation begins, and may become unity. It is also described as the sacred symbol of the cosmos in its unmanifested state. Bindu is the point around which the mandala is created, representing the universe. Gallery, circle, sun disk, sacred hoop, or ring, an ancient and universal symbol of unity, wholeness, infinity, the goddess, female power, and the life-giving sun. To earth-centered religions throughout history, as well as to many contemporary pagans, the circle represents the feminine spirit or force, the cosmos or a spiritualized Mother Earth, and a sacred space. Ouroboros or Ouroboros, Gnostic traditions link the unbroken circle to the world serpent forming a circle as it eats its own tail. Represents cycles, reincarnation, something constantly recreating itself. Rotary, Rotarian, rotation, rotating, unending cycle. The unbroken circle represents the pagan belief of reincarnation, of being constantly reborn into this world. The sun is often depicted in this exact way, as an unbroken circle or ever-turning wheel. Reincarnation is another false belief system. The Bible tells us in Hebrews 9:27 that it is appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment. Wheel of Dharma, the Buddhist wheel of life and reincarnation. The original wheel of fortune, yes, take your chances. The wheel of Dharma is often depicted with 8 spokes, but can have any number of multiple spokes or rays, and is another sun symbol which represents the cycle of life. Quartered circle, the sacred circle filled with a cross, 4 equal lines pointing from the center to the spirits of the north, east, south, and west, or to the basic element, earth, water, air, or wind, and fire. In Native American traditions, it forms the basic pattern of the medicine wheel and plays a vital part in major spiritual rituals. Many contemporary pagans consider it their main symbol for transmitting the energy of the goddess. Churches have used variations of the same popular shape, usually calling it the Celtic cross. Celtic cross, the symbol for a cultural blend of medieval Catholicism and ancient Celtic traditions. Sometimes this cross is seen with 4 additional arms dividing the circle into 8, instead of 4 sections. 6-pointed star, when surrounded by a circle, it represents the divine mind to numerous occult groups through the centuries, a counterfeit of God's wisdom. Many still use it in occult rituals with the surrounding spirit circle. Guslow, Sylvester Shield, Hiram Shorey, Paul Harris included in this section is information on the founders of Rotary Clubs International. There are excerpts from a few articles with historic background on each individual as well as on Rotary itself. These articles and documents will show that the founders of Rotary were involved in other clubs and institutions as well. These include such institutions as the Masonic Lodge, Bohemian Club, and various press clubs, as well as association with the United Nations. In fact, Rotary was involved in the first UN meeting in San Francisco in 1945 and still hosts an annual Rotary UN Day. The first founder to be highlighted below is Guslow, who was also mentioned in the previous section on the Masonic roots of Rotary Clubs International. The excerpt below is from Biographies of Famous Freemasons. Gustavus Henry Low 1864, May 23, 1918 Chicago jeweler, promoter, mining engineer, and Freemason. Guslow was one of the 4 founding members of the Rotary Club with Hiram Shorey, Sylvester Shield, and attorney Paul Harris, whose idea the association had been. It was at Gus's office in the Unity Building on Dearborn Street, Chicago, that on the night of February 23, 1905, the meeting took place which led to the formation of the first Rotary Club. The world's first service club, it has since spread to 166 countries and now claims 1.2 million members in 31,000 clubs. Member of Masonic Lodge No. 739, initiated, August 8, 1886 passed, September 30, 1886 raised, April 10, 1886 suspended NPD, May 27, 1896 reinstated. May 27, 1903 Lakeside Lodge No. 739. Source, Lakeside Lodge No. 739 Records, The Book of Chicagoans, a biographical dictionary of leading living men of the city of Chicago. Chicago, A.N. Marquis and Company, 1905. Also see RotaraHistoryFellowship.org. Another of the 4 founding members of Rotary is Paul Harris. Rotary Club was founded in 1905 in Chicago by attorney Paul P. Harris and 3 other businessmen. Harris was a big private club person in Chicago area as well, involved in the press clubs, and in something called Bohemian Club. This club had overlap with the larger national club that meets annually at the Bohemian Grove. This is a group that goes a step even beyond Masonry that worships at the brazen altar of a huge statue in the form of an owl called Moloch, the accursed idol singled out in the Bible. Moloch was the false idol that the Hebrews had adopted from the heathen religion of their pagan neighbors, and the deity to which they sacrificed their firstborn children. These practices were utterly despised by the Lord God, but ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch and Chinear images, the star of your God, which ye made to yourselves. Therefore will I cause you to go into captivity. Amos 526-27. It almost seems anticlimactic at this point to mention that Paul Harris was also a member of the Freemasons, but it is foundational to what Rotary is really all about. Although Harris would later deny his association with Freemasonry, it is well documented in several Masonic and historical records. Paul P. Harris, Sons of Liberty Lodge #301 Famous Masons. The following is a compilation of names through research from the internet, Masonic books and various other sources. We endeavor to bring you the most comprehensive list of our famous brothers. These names close listed in alphabetical order starting with to their last names. Bro. Brown Chinese Julio listed under H. Harris, Paul P., co-founder of the Rotary Club, co-funded Adele Rotary Club. Perhaps even more telling and disturbing than this is Harris' vehement denial of this fact. Navigating through turbulence in Rotary, although some Rotarians were Freemasons, Paul Harris argued forcefully that the movement had no special connection with Masonry. I will answer by unequivocally stating that I have never been a Freemason, nor have I either directly or indirectly had any dealings or relationship with them, he wrote in a letter to Romanian District Governor Agrippa Popescu in 1937. I can say that Rotary has never been in any manner associated with Masonry, and I have never heard of Masonry as having influenced or attempted to influence Rotary. These are unfortunately outright lies as, even from its inception, Rotary has been integrally linked with Masonry. We have already seen that co-founder Gus Lowe was a Freemason, and there is very strong evidence that Paul Harris was as well. In addition to this, many of the early Rotarians were Masons and that, according to C.R. Hewitt in Towards My Neighbor, some Rotary clubs recruited exclusively from Freemasons until the practice was banned in the 1920s. There is not a great deal of information on the other two founding Rotarians, Hiram Shorey and Sylvester Shiel, however there is enough guilt by association to go around. Shorey served as recording secretary during the club's first year, but was a Rotarian for only a few short years. Another early leader of Rotary was printer and salesman Harry Ruggles. After enlisting this fifth member, the group was formally organized as the Rotary Club of Chicago. Ruggles served as Rotary treasurer in the early years of the club, and was responsible for the first printed emblem of Rotary, the wagon wheel. Sylvester Shiel was Rotary's first president and later served as treasurer. After their initial chance meeting, he and Harris became lifelong friends and neighbors. Even in death the two men lie close to each other in the Mount Hope Cemetery. Shiel and Harris had shared a hotel room in the early years of the 20th century when both were still bachelors. They also often dined together at Madame Galla's where, on February 23, 1905, the Gang of Four met to discuss the formation